Welcome everyone, this is On Just Restart, and today I want to have a quick little video talking about what's to come after the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. What will we see being the focus at E3 2023, if Nintendo will even be there? What's going on? Well, that's what we're talking about today. Now before we jump into things, let me very quickly talk about my social media. You will see a few different things here on screen. You can check that all out. It's linked in the description below. And of course, if you like what you're seeing here, you can subscribe if you haven't already. You could leave a like, or you could even join as a member. But now let's jump into things. So I was thinking about what comes after The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This is a huge game from Nintendo. It's been in development for quite a long time. The original, Breath of the Wild, released March 2017, which is also when the Switch came out. And once Tears of the Kingdom releases, that will be May of 2023. E3 happens, it just recently confirmed to be coming back, June 2023. We don't know if Nintendo will be there, but by that point in time, we will be in the 7th year of the Nintendo Switch. Typically, Nintendo generations do not last that long. So it begs the question, what will be happening next year? What is Nintendo's big plan? With their biggest game that's been in development in the last half decade or so having come out in May, what are they going to do? Usually when we have a big Zelda coming out at E3 is when we see the big focus for it. For Tears of the Kingdom, it never got that big focus. We got a teaser trailer in 2019 and a teaser trailer in 2021. Just 90-second trailers, nothing significant here. In contrast to Breath of the Wild, the entire E3 show for 2016 was just Breath of the Wild, and they stole the show with just that one game. That's how big it was, and here we are with Tears of the Kingdom, a game that's had an even longer development cycle, and it's not going to get that big E3 sort of showcase. So it's a strange, peculiar situation. One thought that comes to mind is that maybe Nintendo will not have E3 again. That is possible. But in my opinion, which could totally be wrong, but in my opinion, I feel like Nintendo probably will still have some sort of an E3 presence. I find it hard to believe that Nintendo will do the same thing they did this year, where they skipped the show and they didn't have a dedicated E3 Direct. They had a few game-specific directs throughout the summer, they had the partner showcase, they had some shadow drop announcements through social media. They did those things and it's worked, but I don't think that's the kind of thing that will work long term. I think the big summer direct is something that should stick around. That's where we had some of the biggest, most hype announcements. I think Nintendo will go back to that. They may not do it every year, as we have seen, but more times than not, I think they probably will. So with E3 not being canceled, with it actually coming, I think most likely there will be a direct. And if we are getting this direct, what do we get there? I'm sure they'll talk about DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, but it's still not going to warrant it being the big focus of the show. Nintendo will need to move on to something else. And by this point in time, I would even sort of speculate that maybe we would know about what the next big thing is. So one big thing that is happening around this time is the release of the Mario movie, which is coming out April of next year. We're going to be getting the very first trailer for this movie really soon, in just a few days next week, and surely both Tears of the Kingdom and this Mario movie will be a big focus of Nintendo's marketing all throughout early next year. But what comes beyond? Well, with this Mario movie, you gotta think that maybe there's a Mario game in the works. It makes sense to have the great success of the Mario movie bleed into some promotional marketing for a Mario game. We've seen how the mobile games have really boosted sales for Nintendo's games on their consoles. The movie should have a similar effect. There's a reason why whenever there's a big movie that comes out in Hollywood or what have you, you'll see some sort of game related to it as well. So I think there's a really good chance the next big Mario game could be coming out. Maybe we see a 2D Mario game, maybe we see a 3D Mario game, maybe we even see both. In terms of 2D Mario, it's been a really long time since we've gotten a dedicated 2D Mario game, so that might not be too far off. But also, with the next big 3D Mario, well, we haven't seen a new 3D Mario entirely new from the ground up since Super Mario Odyssey, which came out in 2017. We are now looking at one of the biggest gaps between 3D Marios we've ever seen, similar to Zelda. But since we're now looking at a situation where we will be into the 7th year of the Switch's life cycle, and with Tears of the Kingdom having already released, and with there being the Mario Kart DLC and Smash have already just recently being completed, and with Animal Crossing having just recently being done, you gotta think what else could be left for Nintendo to have as a big game to launch a new generation. And with the Mario movie happening, I gotta think 3D Mario is a likelihood. So it wouldn't shock me that the Mario movie comes, it does its thing in April, Tears of the Kingdom comes, it does its thing in May, and then June comes around, and maybe we don't even know about the next big 3D Mario game yet. It is possible that they could tease us at an early year Nintendo Direct, that is certainly possible, but there's also a good chance they may save E3 to showcase the next big Mario game that could be coming out holiday 2023 alongside new hardware. That is something to consider here. That's something we could see to come out beyond Tears of the Kingdom that will be showcased at E3. I think there's a really good chance of that. On the flip side though, there's also a good chance that maybe we see some level of new hardware come out alongside Tears of the Kingdom. Historically speaking, usually Nintendo uses Zelda to push new hardware, so they may do it again. May might be a bit too soon for new hardware to come out, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch, so it's definitely a consideration here. But also, holiday 2023 with a new 3D Mario, that makes tons of sense as well, especially when you take into consideration that it could have that boost of momentum from the Mario movie. This makes sense to me. But you know, there's something else to consider here. There's honestly a lot of different things Nintendo could do beyond Tears of the Kingdom, but something to that level of ambition, to that level of a huge developmental project, 3D Mario is the only thing that comes to mind that really comes close, save for one other project that we do know about already, and that's Metroid Prime 4. Now when I say this, do not confuse that to mean that I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to sell 30 million copies, something crazy like that, where it's comparable to a 3D Mario or 3D Zelda. I am not saying that. I think Metroid Prime 4 will probably be the best-selling Metroid yet. Maybe it exceeds 5 million, who knows, maybe it could even exceed 10 million, which would be substantial, but I don't want to confuse you guys here and suggest that, yes, it's going to sell as much. No, however, I do think from a perhaps budget standpoint, from perhaps an ambition standpoint, from a sort of perception standpoint of the fan base, of people looking on Nintendo, Metroid Prime 4 is going to look impressive. It's going to be something that will definitely showcase some of the best technologies we've seen from Nintendo in a long time. It's going to be a big, ambitious project from Nintendo. It's going to be a big deal is what I'm trying to say here, basically. So this is something else that I think we will be looking forward to after Tears of the Kingdom. Something that could be showcased at E3 2023. Now, the thing that gets a little interesting here is that supposedly we were supposed to get a Metroid Prime HD remaster remake for this holiday here, 2022, in say maybe November. Is it possible they could shadow drop that? It's possible, but is it likely? I don't think so at this point. I think we are now well past that. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for Nintendo to announce it next week, absolutely, but I just don't think that's happening anymore. I do believe that the sources are somewhat right here. I do think it's in existence. I think the timing at this point just seems to have been off. I think maybe they were thinking about coming out this holiday, but it's probably also largely contingent upon when Metroid Prime 4 is going to be ready. So with Metroid Prime HD seemingly not really being a likely candidate for this year, my perspective is that Metroid Prime 4 is a longer ways off. It probably isn't coming out next year for the holiday either. So maybe we see Metroid Prime HD showcased next year. It comes out next year, maybe close to the holiday or sometime in the second half of the year. And then Prime 4 is something that's positioned as a big 2024 game that will definitely be taking advantage of new hardware, like a new generation, next generation system from Nintendo. It'll probably still have a Switch version because they did announce it for Switch initially, but there will also be a better looking version that will be more optimized for a newer system from Nintendo. That's what I think is happening here. But I think come E3 2023, they could finally unveil it. They could finally show off this game. If Prime HD is coming out next year, then they'll show that off, it'll look great, but then they'll also give us a teaser for Prime 4, and I feel like this is the kind of thing we can absolutely see at an E3 2023. And in terms of the big stuff, that's what I sort of think could be happening beyond Tears of the Kingdom that could be showcased at an E3 2023. Something like Pokemon, yes, that's big, but we're getting a new generation this year. We're not going to get another generation release just a year later. We're likely just going to get DLC. Same thing for Tears of the Kingdom. And Mario Kart 9 or 10, whatever it is, probably is also a ways off because we're going to be getting DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe all the way leading up to the end of 2023. So the next big Mario Kart is also ways off as well. So 3D Mario, Metroid Prime 4, those are the things I think we can look forward to seeing beyond Tears of the Kingdom that could be showcased throughout the second half of next year. 3D Mario I think would come out next year, Prime 4 at this point, unfortunately, I think it's coming out later, but when it comes, it will be amazing, and I still think that Prime HD is coming and it's going to be pretty good too. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think happens beyond Tears of the Kingdom? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, this is On Just Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care.